All right, hello everybody. My name is Michael Doherty, and this is my aunt Alexandra Charay. Um, I am from New York, and we are starting this podcast because we want to share our wisdom and our values, our knowledge with everyone and with the world, and we want to try to make other people's lives better, and also kind of talk about topics that aren't really spoken about, our opinions on them. And then also I want to bring on different guests for different topics. That's just a little intro to our podcast, and this is our first one. So the more we go, the more we'll kind of get into everything. But I guess we'll start with introductions. So my name is Michael Doherty, like I said. I was born and raised Long Island, New York, in a little town named Seacliff. Um, let's see. I struggled with a few different issues when I was younger, anxiety, depression. I struggled with confidence, other issues. And we just want to kind of share our experiences with you guys. And let's see what else can I. I'm also studying to become a pilot right now. I've had a little experience in social media. And I've also kind of studied psychology and also was taught a little bit by my aunt, Alexandra. So that's why we thought it'd be a perfect idea to start this podcast together. But I think that's good for now. And I'll toss the microphone to you.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And hello, everyone. And as Michael mentioned in his introduction, I am Michael's aunt. And not only aunt, Michael is my also godson. Mm-hmm. And my name is first Alexandra Charay, and I was raised in Poland. When I was 26 years old, I immigrated to United States. I have suffered from severe rheumatoid arthritis since the age when I was 8 years old for over 3 decades. I struggled with depression for almost 2 decades. I had severe migraines, headaches. I had...
One second. Pull the microphone a little bit away.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Just try not to breathe into it too much. All right. Continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well,
sorry about that.
Okay. I had severe migraines. I had indigestion almost every day. I struggled with anxiety, extreme guilt feelings. So I decided to, because traditional treatment never helped me with anything. Actually, of taking too many injections to my body and regular medication actually weakened my whole body system. Mm-hmm. That I had severe muscle pains that I couldn't function anymore. At the age of 29 years old, I was diagnosed with severe degenerative joint disorder, and the prediction were I'm gonna end up on the wheelchair or I'm gonna die from the inflammation in my body. This scared me very bad. At that time, I had a small child. My son was maybe around 4, 5 years old when I couldn't function anymore as a normal mother.
And that kind of segued into your career.
Yes.
And what you're doing right now, right?
Exactly. But my strong will to find something else that's going to help me and change my health condition, it was stronger than anything else. I stopped believing in medicine. I stopped believing in doctors. I stopped believing with anything. And truly, I left the North Shore Clinic sobbing outside and looked at this guy and said, God, please lead me to different directions so I can help myself, that I can heal myself and raise my child as fully functional mother. So I began, I love to read, so I started to make making changes in my lifestyle. I started with diet first, then I felt a little bit better, less inflamed, and then I had my curiosity arose to the level that I returned to school. I went back to the university studying psychology. When I studied psychology, I became to understand what could be the cause of my illness. Then psychology wasn't enough for me because I knew already that I had made so many changes in my lifestyle that I heal on the way, on the path when I was doing things. Then,
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. Like your story is kind of similar to like someone who also started a podcast, like Michaela Peterson. She kind of like didn't trust. She had something a little
I
similar.
know
Like
because I listened to her.
yeah. So
Exactly.
I was like trying to say like it's kind of similar. Like she like changed, like
Yes,
did a 360, changed like everything.
everything.
So
And you know what? You never know about it. As you're gonna start doing one thing, the other things are actually the other gates gonna go open for you because it's happening like I would say a domino effect. Do you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? You
Mhm.
never go back where you were because again, you change. First of all, you open your mind and you start thinking differently. So as you open your mind and start thinking differently, then other gates are going to open in the front of your eyes, which you never knew that before.
Yeah.
So
Sorry to interrupt. Could you tell them a little bit about your certifications? I kind of want to move on from
yes,
the
I'm gonna
introduction
go.
part.
Yes, yes.
So just
So,
yeah.
so again, as I have completed education in psychology, I knew that there is too much labeling, and I knew also that is not only psychology is not the answer. And then I knew already that there is something more to it. So I pursued mass certification, which is holistic healing and holistic health and wellness, where I acquired my master certification for holistic health and wellness through International Association of Wellness Professional through the Academy. And that was actually the end of my education. And right now I'm helping all clients who wants to heal themselves, whether it's the mental or physical illness, which is through holistic approach. And actually my program is called Mind Body Integration.
All right. So I think now that we're done with introductions, I kind of wanted to segue into like the first topic that I think we both feel very strongly about. So I guess we'll start the topic. So the topic I wanted to discuss today is like
Michael,
prescription drugs.
can we
Yeah.
take break? Can we take break for 1 second?
I mean,
I need
do we
something
have?
to drink. I forgot to bring my water.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I should stop the recording or
I
no.
would stop. It's going to be easier, I think, for you to go.
So okay, guys, so we're going to segue into our next part, which is going to be about the problem about prescription drugs and drug abuse in the United States and I guess everywhere. So where should we start with that? Touch on, I'm asking you,
Oh,
where should you have to say all right, so where should we start with our drug conversation?
okay, start with your experience first.
So I've had issues in the past with a few different drugs. Nothing recently, but in the past, I'll give you everything I've used. I have drink alcohol, nicotine, weed, Xanax, cocaine, Adderall, prescribed, but still abused. I think that's it. But I've also had, Percocets prescribed to me by doctors, muscle relaxers. So I've been prescribed a lot by doctors. And from my experience, I've learned a lot from my use of drugs, and I've kind of observed how easily doctors will give you medicine in the United States. And I've also observed how many people in my generation are addicted to drugs or are using. So yeah, that's my experience with drugs. Yeah. What about you, Chacha? I mean, Alexandra. I'll call you Alexandra. Chacha is what we say in Polish.
Exactly. My again, as I mentioned before, my issue were always with trying to find the right medication, because I had always severe effects from taking rheumatoid arthritis medication. I had severe muscle pain to the point that actually I couldn't move myself. Then when you take a medication, you have other imbalances in your body system, which is I was addicted to sugar. I could start the day with sugar. In the middle of the day, I needed sugar. At the end of the day, I needed sugar. I was going to bed with a chocolate because I needed sugar. Yes, when I was younger, I was trying to self-medicate medicate myself with alcohol too. It's not that I was drinking a lot, but I was seeking satisfaction there too. That is the point. I didn't drink heavy alcohol or heavy spirits, but I always find the reason to drink a wine. That was my motto, to escape from the pain.
Stop right there. So I think the main reason why a lot of people are doing drugs is because they want to escape.
Yes.
And I also kind of want to make this more of like kind of like a debate, not like a debate, but kind of like a debate, not like kind of just like each telling our stories. So this is like not really part of the podcast, but I want us to like debate like about drugs, like I want like why are there so many drugs, like what's going on, like why is this such an issue?
So feel free to interrupt me, because that's his debate. It's not a monologue or something like that, because even the conversation is more engaging.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. Yeah, because people aren't going to watch us just talk about our life stories.
Exactly.
They're not here to listen. They want to know.
But remember, it's an introduction today. Okay, you can say a lot in the first thing. Okay. So then at the very end, do you have in your mind what we're gonna say? What's gonna be our next episode? Because that's how you finish. Next time we're gonna talk about this.
Let's keep the debate going, because I don't want to. It's gonna be hard to edit when we're talking about this different stuff.
Okay.
All right. So
let me finish what I was trying to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you recording all that?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay. So again, seeking satisfaction in the sugar or alcohol or any other pleasure things, I would say, I was trying to escape from the heavy pain, psycho-emotional pain, what I carried since my childhood. Now, Michael, what would you say about that?
Well, yeah, I think I was trying to do the same thing, self-medicating, and I learned about a lot about different drugs. Like when I was on Adderall, one of my least favorite drugs. I hate that drug with a passion. I think nowadays, like, doctors are overprescribing it, and I also think that ADHD is kind of more of like a made-up disease, because I feel like doctors will tell you that you have ADHD or you have ADD, but the real reason behind it is like, humans aren't meant to sit at a desk all day and just, work office jobs. So, when parents, want their kids to perform better in school, asked her doctor, you know, like he's not focusing, blah, blah, blah. He's rowdy, he's rambunctious, he needs something. So, you know, the doctors would prescribe Adderall. And that was my case. That's what happened to me. And I noticed I felt like a zombie. Like I felt like I can't even describe it. Like I just felt like a zombie. I lost, I think, 30 or 40 pounds on Adderall. And what I've noticed by observing other people on Adderall is the same thing. They lose a lot of weight. They kind of like flow with like a robotic kind of way. Like they're not conscious of themselves, like, or sometimes too conscious of themselves. But I think Adderall is a very dangerous drug, and that we're gonna see we're gonna really see the side effects and the effects that it has on children, because in other countries it's like there isn't such an issue with prescription drugs like Adderall. But I know you definitely agree with me on this one, but
Yes.
I'll let you put in some of your opinion on this.
And as you say about the ADHD, in today medical term, I would say at that time, because I was in Poland, at that time I could be diagnosed with ADD, which mean attention deficit disorder, because depression was so severe in my body. Obviously, when you are depressed,
Yeah,
you
when you're
have
depressed, you're not going to concentrate. That's what
it's
happened with me.
impossible. It's
It doesn't
impossible.
make sense. There's so many people being misprescribed drugs every single day. I have a question. In Poland,
Yes.
do they have an issue with like prescribing drugs like that, like Adderall?
No, no, we didn't.
It's not like in the US, right? Or
No,
Europe in general.
no. At that time, when I was ill in Poland and I was younger, we didn't have that kind of medical treatment in
I'm talking
Poland.
about now. Do you know, like,
I
is it
think
overprescribed?
it's been changing right now.
Yeah, I think Western countries, like Western ideology, has been to, you know, here's a pill, like if there's anything wrong, here's a pill, like you're depressed, here's a pill. And I
Excuse me,
think
Michael, there is no pill what's gonna
yeah,
solve
I
your
totally agree.
your whatever it is, whether it's mental or physical illness, because the root cause it's in your lifestyle.
Yeah,
That is the
exactly.
thing. And when I was studying psychology, actually there was a great terminology for which is called psychoneuroimmunology, where when you have problems with negative thinking, it's weaken your immune system, and that's why you're gonna get sick.
Yeah,
If it's that's why usually for people who have chronic illness, like I had chronic inflammation, when you don't deal with your depression,
it gets it worse. Yeah.
it gets worse. Yes.
Like for me, like with my back issues, like I have a lot of back issues.
Exactly.
If I'm stressed or anything like that, like the inflammation is gonna go crazy. Like my back is gonna be killing me. I also notice if I'm not eating properly, like, you know, my eczema, like a lot of these issues can be cured, or not cured, but for the most part cured if you're, you know, have a consistent diet, you stay away from most medication, like from medication, you eat like kind of like a caveman, like, you know, meat, vegetables, anything that isn't processed is kind of like a natural way to heal yourself, in my
Ex
opinion.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I do agree with you on that. And you have to know, you take whatever the medication is, you take it. You take it for one thing, but if you're going to read the label, how many side effects it has,
Yeah, and then you're gonna have another illness and another illness.
and you're
Yeah,
never gonna get healthy
it never
again.
stops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna get addicted. Like people get addicted to alcohol, people get addicted to drugs, people get addicted to medication, and that's what is happening. It's never ending
Yeah,
vicious cycle, because you because
it's easy.
the medical treatment is about working on the symptoms, not on the root causes, where
Yeah,
holistic approach is working on the root causes, where you can heal yourself and put all the stuff away from you.
and also working on your consciousness, you know, being
Exactly.
more conscious of yourself, which I
Yes.
have become. I know you're more conscious of
You
yourself
have done
too.
so much good work.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and I know that. And I
I
am
don't need
so
to be. I
I
don't
am
need to be praised right now, but thank
no,
you.
but well, there is not many people, Michael, at your age that can see and trying to understand.
Yeah, I
In
think,
my
yeah, that's another issue. Like at our age, or even not even just my age, I think most ages are they're very unconscious of what's going on in the world. Like it's kind of sad. Like when we're the conscious people that are looking out, like you want to help these people, but at the same time, it's like so many people are so stuck on the fact that like, oh, my antidepressants work, blah blah blah, or oh, the Adderall is working perfectly for me. But like you look from the outside and you're like, these people are like kind of cuckoo. Like you like they just think this pill is gonna help them, and it's not. It's not helping them. It's making their life worse sometimes.
Exactly, but as you say, you have to raise your consciousness. Okay, you
Yeah.
were seeking for it. Do you remember 2, 3 years ago how many sessions we had over the
Yeah.
phone? How
Hmm.
much time? Hours and hours. And did it help
It takes
you?
a long time.
Yes,
And
it
also another
does.
thing, you have to be willing to go the natural route. Like a lot of people aren't willing to hear advice. Like for me, for instance, like I'm like clean. Like the only thing I do is maybe drink or sometimes like vaping, but that's like the only thing I do now. I've gotten down to like basically and when I drink, it's usually like maybe a glass of something. Like I'm not going and like blacking out like most of the people my age, you know. I've matured, and I like to say I'm like kind of like I matured at a young age due to
Yes,
my
you are. Yes,
living.
you are.
Yeah, I think
Exactly. And again, everything is for people, for a pleasure. You know, it's nothing wrong if you want to have a glass of wine. Nothing is gonna. If you like smoke, okay, you have few vapes, whatever.
yeah,
But what we're talking about addiction and chronic illness. That's what we are talking about.
yeah,
Okay, because this is never gonna help you. You're gonna go down to drain if you're not if you're not gonna take serious precautions about your health. Again,
yeah.
whether it's mental or physical health.
Another thing I noticed, like some of my friends or even family members that have been on serotonin drugs that will, you know, like antidepressants. What it does is it, quote unquote, doctors think, or a lot of like the pharmaceutical companies, you know, made us believe that there's a problem with dopamine in our brains, and that's the reason why depression happens. So everyone thinks that depression, anxiety, and all these things are permanent. I've had depression, anxiety most of my life, but I've worked on healing it without drugs, alcohol, without any of that, and look where I am today. Like I'm like probably the least anxious I've ever been. And when I was on drugs and all that stuff, I was probably, even though, you know, sometimes it numbed me, I was probably still pretty anxious and depressed. And I've also noticed, you know, certain family members that, you know, they're on antidepressants for, you know, years. And after, you know, maybe a year, it stops working, because I feel like it's more like a placebo effect. Like it'll stop working.
Exactly. You are so right.
They go
Yes.
down like this, they hit rock bottom, they get change their prescription, get a new one. They're like, oh, okay, everything's okay. Like they come out of their bubble, and then same thing. Like a few years later, it's like crashing down. Like these drugs are temporary solutions. They don't actually fix the root causes of why you're feeling this way and the trauma and everything. That's why, yeah,
If we're going to talk about, I want to use safe word here. If you want to sell something, whether it's a drug or medication or any other products, you have to make people believe in
yeah,
this.
exactly. The
So
pharmaceutical companies, yeah,
you
that's what
have
they're
to
doing. They're
make them
making people
believe.
believe. Yeah,
Yes, you have to program them. So you provide first the education that there is this, nothing else. Okay, you create the disease
and then
and
you
you
create
will
the solution. Yeah,
create a solution.
but yeah,
Solution in quotation quote,
yeah,
because this is
exactly.
not a solution.
And another thing I want to talk about. So I actually found an article um, about pharmaceutical companies and the fact that they actually found out that depression is not caused by, and all these things are not caused by a problem in dopamine, but it didn't get out there because the pharmaceutical companies don't want people knowing that. They don't want that. There was a study, and it like it proved that it's not a dopamine or serotonin issue. I saw that. I don't know if you've heard of that. I think I
Um,
spoke to you.
I did it because I don't listen anymore about this
Yeah.
because holistic you know, treatment is the best thing. I still invest. I mean, as you know, I love to read. I
Yeah.
still invest more. I don't want to waste my time with this. I would rather invest my time educating myself in the more positive knowledge, because I am helping people to really get healthy, to get
Yeah,
their
I've been reading a
health
lot
back.
more also. I've been
Right.
reading a lot more also, which I've found to help me too.
So again, and depression, depression is whatever they say, whether it's serotonin or
Dopamine, whatever. Yeah,
dopamine,
it's
whatever.
or it's from your genes or blah blah blah. You know.
Well, we all have okay, there is no one size fit all. That
Yeah.
is one thing. Okay,
Another thing you've also taught me is nothing is fluid, or I mean, nothing is anything can change.
everything can change whether somebody believes or not. Everything can change. What people call miracle actually is not miracle. Actually, you raise your consciousness, and it's a journey, it's a path. So you raise your consciousness because you are looking more inside of yourself, not outside yourself. Okay. And I teach people how to learn to listen to their body. Okay, what are the sensations, how do I feel, what's going on in their lives, because we don't need to know what serotonin is, but we need to know what's going on in our life
Yeah,
every
what's
day.
making you feel that way? And also
Exactly.
another thing I wanted to talk about, we won't talk about it on this podcast because, you know, we can talk about one subject forever, but next podcast, I think social media and like these giant tech companies, I think that's the next subject I think we should talk about on the next podcast.
Okay.
And because I think it does play into the acceptability of, you know, certain drugs like weed, for instance. Like, I think that's like, I feel like drugs are almost becoming like mainstream, you know?
Right.
So, but anyway, we'll talk about tech companies and social media next time. We'll focus on drugs and the
Wonderful.
overprescription.
Yes.
Like, I know someone, I'm not going to say who, it's one of my family members. They went to their doctor,
Uh-huh.
and like doctors in America, they'll literally like give you anything you ask for. Like, you say, "Oh my gosh, like I broke my arm, it hurts so bad," you know, Percocet, there you go. And like, I don't want to use names. So there's two different stories. So one of my family members, you know, we'll talk about the first one. So Adderall. So one of my family members, you know, went to their doctor, a pediatrician who shouldn't even be their doctor, but went to their doctor and, you know, asked for an increase in the dosage for Adderall. Didn't even ask any questions really. Just was like, okay, increase the dosage. Like, I, I feel like there's no control with
Okay,
doctors. Like,
Michael, excuse me. So now can I ask you right now, if you say they don't ask anything, they just prescribe the medication, in your view, do you think they care for people?
no, I don't think doctors care for people. I think some probably do, but I think they're
We are
also kind
not
of,
talking, yes, excuse
I
me,
think,
we are not
well,
talking.
yeah, I think some of them are blinded by society and all these pharmaceutical. Well, also what they've learned in school teaches them a totally different way. You know, it teaches
Right,
them medicine's everything. You know, like medicine's amazing. Like, it's the only way to fix something, right?
right.
I like how
Uh,
this is getting heated. Let's go. Let's keep it going.
okay, wonderful. Yes, I love to talk to you. You know that. And
Yeah, yeah, I know.
sometimes you try to not call me because we're gonna talk too long on the
Oh
phone.
yeah, yeah. I know that if we talk, like it's gonna be 2-3 hours. So
Right.
we got to make sure I have that time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, back to the again medication. I think I have witnessed actually, and I know I don't know if I mentioned that to you. but I have witnessed. I was working as a private assistant for a man who was paralyzed because he had a spinal cord injury, and due to car accident, and the last 3 months he was transported from one hospital facility to another, and I was the witness. I mean, my eyes were widening when I saw when was the time to take medication, the how much medication was he administered every morning to
It's
treat.
crazy.
I mean, I said to myself, oh my goodness, he's never gonna get better because one medication is gonna interact with the other medication against his biochemistry.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
very sad to watch.
it
Like,
is.
especially with the older generation, I feel like once they get to that age, like they're taking, like, for instance, like my grandpa before he died, he was probably taking like a bunch of different medications for Parkinson's, you know. Um, he did live a long life, but that was because towards the beginning he stayed away from pills and everything. But yeah, it's just crazy the amount of
It's over.
medicine. Yeah, it's just crazy.
Everything is overprescribed, and again, if so, my question is this: if we have developed such a medicine, why people don't get better? They get worse or even die, right?
Mhm.
Does it make sense?
Nope, does not make sense. I mean, I'm not saying that like there's maybe some, like maybe like a few percentage of medicine that may have helped,
Okay.
maybe for people with cancer or something. I don't know. Like,
I would say cancer is also treatable with holistic approach.
I think it's also preventable.
Well,
I think
if you're
I
gonna
don't think
take
the
care
level.
of your health right now, you're gonna
Yeah,
prevent
I think. Well, yeah,
yourself.
that's another whole topic. The amount of chemicals and stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna write that down for another time. But the amount of chemicals in our food, oh my god, and the amount of processed food, cigarettes, drugs, like the amount of radiation around us that we experience from birth till the day we die. There's just so many different things we could talk about, but yeah.
But again, yeah, I understand you need to take a medication. There is no doubt about it in acute situation. Okay, let's say you have surgery. Let's say you had a car accident, okay, and you know they have to put your leg together, let's say it, or something. Yes, you have to take a
Yeah,
medication,
I don't want anyone
right?
operating me on if I'm not passed out.
Well, I'm giving as an
I'd be
example,
scared.
okay?
Yeah,
Yes, we
yeah.
need
No, I'm saying, yeah.
medication.
We
Yes.
do, yeah. There is some positive aspects to medication, but I feel like
Right.
it's just way too overprescribed nowadays. It We saw it in the late 2000s with the opioid epidemic, where Purdue Pharma, you know,
Right. And how many
they
people had died from it?
yeah, so many people. I mean,
For overdose.
like my older brother, half of his friends are probably dead because that was the generation where, like, it didn't matter where you lived. It didn't matter if you were poor or rich. Everyone was getting prescribed these drugs like Percocet and all that stuff, and which Purdue Pharma marketed. They marketed the hell out of it. The doctors, you know, were paid to write the prescriptions. There were certain doctors writing like 1,000 prescriptions a day, and the government wasn't doing anything about it. You know, it's crazy. And my older brother, like, same thing. That's how he started his heroin addiction. Percocets, I'm pretty sure, is how it started, and now today, once the Percocets become too expensive to buy, then you move on to the next, and that's what happens.
Well, again, whatever it is, whether you go to get regular medication, whether you are addicted to drug, whether you are addicted to alcohol, sorry, there is profound problem in your life that you don't know how to deal with it, and you are seeking help for yourself, medicating yourself, okay, which is dead end. if you don't know how to stop this, how many people, young people, died from overdose of drug. I can give you an example. What happened 2 years ago? I think actually it's going to be 3 years this October, very soon. A young man who was similar age to my son overdose.
On what?
He took drugs, I think, cocaine.
Well, cocaine.
He was drinking.
Very sorry. Pause on the like cocaine is also very dangerous nowadays. It's laced with fentanyl, so many different things. Anyway, continue.
So he took cocaine. He was drinking alcohol, and I believe it was heavy spirit alcohol. Okay, and those two drugs mixed together into his body. He took a gun and shot himself.
Oh wow. I think
Yes.
I remember you telling me that story.
Remember? Yeah. Yes. I mean, 2 months I couldn't recover from why I was, what I heard from him. And, you always, worry about your children. I mean, again, I have similar age. My son is similar age, but my son never had problems with any drugs. Never, ever.
I just got so many ideas for other podcasts. Like other podcast ideas that we're probably gonna do is like the problem with tech companies, big tech companies, social media. What else?
Excuse me, Michael, our listeners, if they're going to put comments, they can ask us what they want
they could
to
ask us also.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like
what
certain
to
things to talk
develop on.
about.
Yes.
Yeah, we could comment on.
People have so many interests and they have their problems. They can ask us how we can help them.
I like that idea. Yeah,
right?
I think that's good. And also, I want to talk about like purpose in life on another podcast, like how everyone needs to have a purpose, and that's another reason why there's a lot of suicide. I feel like all the ideas that I want to talk about kind of correlate, so it's going to be hard to stay on one.
Exactly.
Especially for us, it's going to be hard to stay on one topic.
And we're going to give, I'm going to give examples from each module from my program, what encompasses the whole holistic aspect, okay? And that's how we're going to go. I'm so happy and, looking forward for more deliverance for people and help people, because I suffered so bad in my life that I am passionate to help.
You want to turn it into something to help people, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. We finish each other's sentences.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
So I think that's a good idea, and I don't know if do you want to keep going? You think this is a good?
I think it's enough for today.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
because I think we have to be more strategic, that because not
we
everyone has so much time to listen. I'm sure we're gonna have longer later videos, because when you start talking, you don't want to stop talking.
Yeah, I don't even know how long we've been talking for. Okay. I actually have no clue how long we've even been talking for.
Right.
But yeah.
But for an introduction, I think it's enough.
Sufficient. Yeah.
Yes, sufficient.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea where any of the viewers, if you guys need advice, we'll be checking the comments, and yeah, I think that's we probably should have put that in the beginning so people actually do it. But whoever makes it this far, yeah, if you have any questions about certain things, we want to make it a very open place. We're not, we're not static on one idea. We want to listen to other ideas, debate them. I want to bring on different guests. I want to create it kind of not necessarily a safe space where we're going to protect your feelings necessarily, but where we can talk about anything, because that's another issue, freedom of speech. But yeah, so this is our podcast, and it's going to be called, what is it? Wake Up, right?
Yes, exactly. That's
Wake Up.
Yes.
Wake up, America. Wake up.
Wake up, people. Wake up, America. And Michael, thank you so much. Thank you so much for creating the podcast today.
Oh, and we're going to be the co-hosts, so I want to add that in.
Okay. So
sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for for the introduction today. I am your end. You know how I love you. I love you so much. And if there was a need in this life, I would sacrifice my life for you. You know that. And I am very proud of you because you didn't have easy.
None of us have it easy.
Well, yes, no, I agree with this, but I know more from your
Story, yeah.
stories, and we are here to help other people and make them believe that there is always solution, more positive solution. You don't have to struggle, because if you with the right people who wants to help you, you always gonna win for yourself, which means win, not win-win. I'm talking about you're gonna be healthier and you're gonna feel good, and you don't have to spend so much money for treatments which never cure people. Because if it's gonna help you for now, if you're gonna neglect yourself, your life, and your immune system, it's gonna come back sooner or later.
Yeah. And then one last thing I wanted to add, it also you also want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people, like you said, that want to help you. If you don't want to be crucified, don't hang around crosses, as my life coach said.
I
My
like that.
personal life coach. Yeah.
Yes, I
I
like
love
that.
that. Yeah. That was very good. All right. So I think that's good for this episode. And I think the next episode, what shall we talk about? I think we'll either see maybe if we get some comments on this one, or if not, we could
We're gonna talk about
maybe you want to
technology.
talk about I think yeah, technology, social media, and then how it plays into suicide too,
Yes,
which is a very tough topic to talk about for both of us because we both experienced suicide, and I
yes,
think it's a very important topic to talk about by
yes,
far, because it affects
yes,
like half of the population. I mean, I think more than half of the population at least knows one person, so I think it's a very important topic we need to discuss. So that'll be our next podcast. So stay tuned for that.
yes.
Thank you. As I say in Polish, Ciocia Ola. That's how you say
Thank you.
Alexandra. But thank you,
Michael,
Alexandra, for
uh,
joining. My aunt. We'll just say Alexandra for joining us. And
you can call me Alexandra now.
yeah, so I'll just call you Alexandra for the purpose of the podcast. Thank you, Alexandra, for
Yes.
joining us.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you next time, guys. All right.